Hello and welcome to the War Room. This is Gaku and I'll be playing as France. And this is the beginning of Session 2 of the first ranked game of Season 5. Now, it's been a while since I took part in a ranked game, but here I'll try and fill you in on what happened in Session 1. Now, Session 1, France was being played by Chad. And as you can see, Chad lost a significant war against a bloc that consists of most of Central Europe. So the bloc is led by Slazer. Slazer is playing the North German Federation, and he's allied with Austria, Sardinia-Piedmont, which is soon to become Italy, and Scandinavia, and these are the core members. There's also the Netherlands, which is kind of being neutral and playing all sides. Now apparently last session France was allied with Russia, and France lost horribly. So France lost one of its colonies in North Africa, Franche-Comté, obviously Alsace-Lorraine, and is now in just a really shitty situation because for it becoming weaker, NGF has become that much stronger. Obviously there's no chance to hold on to Württemberg or Baden or Bavaria, any of that stuff, so that sphere is completely useless. And what's going on elsewhere? Well, Ottoman Empire is not doing too bad. Scandinavia is taking advantage of its alliance and pretty much expanding with impunity. Spain's expanding pretty much unhindered, so you see there's now Spanish Brunei, and Spain's even taken over Hawaii. Now, in the New World, there's only a single player, and that's the USA. In this mod, Canada starts released and free, so it seems like taking over Canada is their top priority for whatever reason. So that's, you know, kind of up to them. But Australia also free, and same with New Zealand. So let's talk general strategies. NGF, played by Slazer, is obviously trying to become #1 because that's the goal of a ranked game. The easiest way for NGF to do that is to keep eating away at France. He may or may not do that, but basically if he wants to do that, I can't stop him, because realistically there's no way we can stop NGF plus Austria plus Italy plus Scandinavia and maybe Netherlands if they're promised some land up in the north. Now Spain at the moment is allied with Netherlands and they're in my sphere. I think in this mod you can break free from spheres, so at any time Spain might become a liability. Hopefully not. If Spain decides to back me, great, that's a few extra troops. Otherwise, it's just going to be kind of a pain in the ass. But they've got 35 brigades, which is about half of what I've got. So, you know, they're not a threat on their own, but they could be really annoying if they wanted to be. Now, the one person I do have that's somewhat supporting me is UK. And the reason why is because UK doesn't want to see Super Germany taking over all of Europe. So as long as I stay out of UK's way, we'll be pretty much best buddies. Now UK is also played by Guren, which if you know anything about Guren means that he plans to take over everything that's claimed or not claimed anywhere else in the world. So that means my chances of expanding in Africa are 0. My chances of expanding in Southeast Asia, if I want to stay on good terms with Guren, are 0. My chances of expanding anywhere in Europe are 0 thanks to the alliance block. So if I'm going to be playing France, my one chance to expand is South America, oddly enough. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go fuck off in South America. We're looking Haiti, Ecuador, Venezuela, maybe get the Panama Canal if I'm lucky, but even if I don't, it's not a huge problem. I mean, really what I'm looking at is northern Brazil, Peru, Bolivia, this whole area here. Even if I don't get Panama, I mean, it's still better than nothing. So that's what I'm shooting for, and hopefully people will just leave me alone because I'm not really a threat to anyone either. My goal is not to get this land back because that's just not feasible anytime in the remotely near future. So I'm just going to pretend this doesn't exist, and I'm going to forget that I ever lost it because I didn't lose it. In fact, Chad lost it. Chad rage quit after session 1. And he rage quit so hard that he hasn't been on Steam in a week since. So that's a pretty intense rage quit right there. I gotta give him credit. Now, some other things going on around the world. Russia currently has no allies, and presumably I'm expected to ally Russia to maintain some semblance of balance in the world. I don't know how that's going to work out. If I get full support from the UK and the UK is also backing Russia, then sure. But if it's just me throwing myself out there on Russia's behalf, then I don't see a reason to do that. In fact, if Germany turns its ambitions east, then, you know, they can just leave me alone, which is perfectly fine with me. Now, Ottoman Empire was in a very good situation. They made a deal with UK. Basically, UK got the canal, and Ottoman Empire was going to get everything else in the area. But for whatever reason, at least I'm told, the Ottoman Empire, the player quit. So Ottoman Empire no longer has a player, even though they've taken a chunk of Persia. They're in a really good situation. So if I had any sense about me, instead of playing France, I'd say, fuck no, I'm going to go play Ottomans, but I'm going to play France anyway. Here in South America, we've got Brazil. Brazil is untouched, and it's in my sphere. And it also has a lot of potential. You know, if it were controlled by a player, it might actually do well versus AI, which never really does anything. So, again, if I didn't get Ottomans, I could say, fuck France, I'm going to go play Brazil instead. But, no, I'm going to see what I can do with France, just because, why not? And I do realize, though, that if I don't kill Brazil, and if a player takes over as Brazil, they become a huge liability, because being in my sphere, that's probably one of the easiest countries to break out of someone's sphere, and there's just nothing anyone can do about it. So yeah, there's that. Now if you look at my sphere, it's kind of a clusterfuck. What you've got is essentially a who's who of liabilities around the world. Brazil at any time could break free, and anyone that attacks it, I'm going to get called into war. Pain in the ass. Spain could turn on me at any moment. I hope they don't, but they could if they wanted to. And they also have desirable colonies everywhere around the world, and they could get called in. Switzerland is probably going to be attacked and consumed by Sardinia Piedmont, so having them in my sphere is just completely pointless. If anything, I should have gone in and, you know, started to annex it myself. But just having it there as a sphere makes it a target. If it weren't in my sphere, it wouldn't be a target. But the fact that I'm on my own and everyone around it is allied means that someone's going to take it, and when they do, I'm going to get called into war, I'm going to lose prestige. So again, that's completely pointless. Ottoman Empire is in my sphere, and as I said, Ottoman Empire is in a really good position. So if it were a player, I don't know why they would want to stay in my sphere. They could break free very easily. And the same sort of deal. So they're in my sphere, so what? Well, am I going to defend them ever? Are they going to help me in any way? No. So again, a liability. We got two Sicilies, which is in the process of dying right now. So that's pointless. And finally we've got Zanzibar. Now Zanzibar is a satellite, so this is pretty much the one exception. Because if anyone wants to take the rest of Zanzibar, first they have to remove them from my sphere. So that's just extra wasted infamy that isn't really worth the effort. So there you have it. That's the state of the world. It's bad for France anyway. It's really bad. But if people decide to leave me alone, then I'll just go fuck off in South America, and I'll be happy with that. And otherwise, we've got the saga that's going to play out between NGF, soon to be Germany, and United Kingdom, and possibly Russia. So, last thing I want to mention, USA does have a few nations in the Americas in its sphere, but as I've realized, the USA player is not very experienced. So even in France's very diminished state, I'm pretty sure that if he wanted to do anything about it, he probably couldn't. I mean, there's some kind of gamey things he could do that a lot of people would probably do if they were in that situation, but I don't think he's going to do them, just by virtue of having not played with this group before. So I think I'll be fine. And if I'm not, then I'll just waste some infamy and just fuck around in Europe, I guess. Couple last issues to mention. Algeria and Morocco are here. Algeria and Morocco seem like likely targets for me, but As you can see, they're both allied with UK, and UK is defending both of them, so nope. And finally, Scandinavia. Scandinavia is played by... I don't even know who's playing Scandinavia because they're not on the roster, but the problem with Scandinavia is that they're snagging up all these random colonies around the world, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it aside from the UK. And the reason why is because Scandinavia is allied with NGF and Austria, so if you decide to stand against Scandinavia, you're going to have NGF kicking down your door in about 3 seconds. So that's the other problem here. So yeah, expect to see Scandinavia expanding completely unhindered, probably in Southeast Asia and maybe some more in Africa. But yeah, that's about it. So I'm just going to fuck around in South America because that's what I want to do. And if anyone wants to stop me, they can stop me. So we'll see what happens, see how badly I get wrecked. And if I do get annexed, then I'll just move on to, probably just move down to Brazil or something. So thanks for watching and have a good one.